Here is the recap of the first 4 seasons of The Boys. The series is set in a world where people with superpowers exist. Most of them are celebrities and belong to the multi-billion-dollar corporation Vought International. The strongest heroes are called Seven and perform only important tasks, and also take care that the level of their popularity always remained at a high level. Here they are. Their leader, Homelander, is roughly speaking the local Superman. Queen Maeve, super strong and durable, has had a relationship with Homelander in the past. A Train has super speed. Deep can communicate with fish and swim fast. Transparent can coat himself with a substance that makes him invisible and immune to physical damage. Black Noir, super strength and martial arts. Also, Starlight is a new girl who can emit a very bright light. The main characters, however, are not them, but a guy named Huey. He lives his ordinary life, works as a salesman of electrical equipment, and is about to propose to his beloved. But all of a sudden, a train whizzes through her, and the girl is torn apart. The corporation wants to pay Huey off by paying him a tidy sum not to make a fuss. But the guy refuses. Suddenly, Huey is contacted by a man nicknamed Butcher and tells him that in fact superheroes are assholes, and a lot of people have suffered at their hands. Butcher convinces Huey to plant a bug in Seven's meeting room by asking for a face-to-face meeting with a Train. Huey succeeds, but is spotted by Translucent and tries to kill Huey. That's when Butcher appears, and together they use electricity to knock out Translucent and load him into the trunk. We learn that 8 years ago Butcher's wife was raped by Homelander, and after that she disappeared somewhere. The government suggests that Butcher form a team to gather dirt on superheroes. But when they started digging too deep, the superheroes killed their boss's children, which couldn't be proven, and their team was disbanded. Back to modern times. After the protagonist kidnapped Translucent, Butcher reassembles his team, namely Frenchie specializing in explosives and a guy named Marvin. The team locks Translucent in a cage and think how to kill him, since no weapon takes him. Meanwhile, Deep takes advantage of her position to force Starlight to perform oral sex on her. The frustrated girl accidentally meets Huey in the park. They begin a sort of affair, and she unknowingly helps Butcher and the team to get information about her colleagues. Soon Starlight tells the public that Deep took advantage of her, and he is sent away. We also learn that Homelander has some strange feelings for a vice president of the Vought Corporation named Madeline. The main characters all figure out how to kill Translucent by blowing him up while shoving a bomb up his ass. Then they get on the trail of a Train, who turns out to be taking some kind of stimulant called Compound V that enhances his superpowers. It's because of them that he couldn't stop when he accidentally killed Huey's lover. They find a place where the stimulant is produced and discover a girl in a cage named Kimiko, who also has superpowers. She is super strong, has incredible regeneration, but is unable to speak. The main characters release the girl, but she runs away from them. However, soon Frenchie finds her and persuades her to join them. The main characters find a place where the serum is injected into babies and realize that all superhumans are artificially created. Butcher takes a sample of the serum and gives it to the CIA, for which he receives funding from the government and good for further actions. Plus, we learn that Homelander grew up in a lab his whole life, and also that in the past the wife of the Butcher got pregnant by Homelander, which was considered impossible, but according to the doctor the mother and child died in childbirth. We soon learn that they actually survived. The Seven learn that Translucent is dead, and soon they realize who is behind it. Homelander accuses Starlight of leaking information to Huey, but Maeve stands up for her. The main characters realize that their loved ones are in danger and the CIA helps to hide their relatives, but the main characters have to make it on their own. The government learns that other countries have also started to have superhumans, or rather super terrorists, and American superheroes are given the go-ahead to join the military. This gives the Vought Corporation multi-billion-dollar contracts and also allows superheroes not to account for crimes committed in other countries. But it turns out that the appearance of supervillains in other countries is the work of Homelander, who secretly delivered the serum to the enemies to help Madeline promote the law with the entry of superheroes into the army. Homelander and a Train were involved in keeping Kimiko locked up and experimenting on her to see if it was possible to give superpowers to people without injecting them with the serum from birth. Frenchie, Marvin, and Kimiko get caught, but Huey and Starlight help them escape. A Train also shows up there to stop them, but during the battle he gets a heart attack from taking too many stimulants. Butcher learns from his former boss that Homelander has a soft spot for Madeline and takes her hostage. He intends to kill her in front of his enemy, but Homelander arrives and kills Madeline himself because she lied to him about his son being dead. Butcher tries to blow up Homelander, but he does not die and carries Butcher to the house, where he sees his wife Rebecca and Homelander's son. This is the end of the first season. After Butcher blows himself up at the end of the previous season, Homelander flies his wife Becca in with him. She begs the villain to let her husband live, or she will kill herself in front of Ryan, Homelander's son. He agrees and Butcher returns to his team after a while. Meanwhile, Hughie, Frenchie, Kimiko and Marvin are hiding somewhere in the basement, as they are still being hunted. The main characters discover that a ship with immigrants and one terrorist with superpowers is arriving in the country. They meet CIA Deputy Director Susan Raynor to tell her about it and get CIA patronage. But some sup blows up her head, and the main characters have to leave the meeting in a hurry. After Homelander kills Madeline at the end of the previous season, he begins to run the Seven and tries to run the Vought Corporation, but Stan Edgar, the CEO of the company, shows up and fearlessly points out Homelander's place. Also joining the Seven is a new superhero named Stormfront. She's pretty negative against the Vought Corporation, but we find out in the future that this was all planned and she's actually on the corporation's side. A train gets out of the hospital, but doesn't rat out Starlight for helping Hughie last season, as he's afraid the girl might leak information about him and his connection to Compound V. After a while, the main characters find a terrorist super who arrived on a ship and learn that he is Kimiko's brother. They want to give him to the CIA anyway, but the Seven track them down and Stormfront kills the guy. Also, Homelander kicks a train out of the Seven as he starts having heart problems. Hughie contacts Starlight and gives her a photo of a super named Gecko, who is being experimented on by Vought related to the Compound V. The girl wants to help the corporation and blackmails Gecko into stealing documents indicating that Vought is involved in the serum. Starlight gives these documents to the press, and the public learns that Vought has been giving the serum to children in America for a long time. Nevertheless, Vought tells everyone that they knew nothing about it, and that it's all the fault of the former vice president of the company, Madeline, who has disappeared somewhere. Reminds you that she was killed by a Homelander in the previous season. Hughie, Starlight and Marvin, on a tip from Mallory, start digging into Stormfront and find out that she is actually 100 years old and used to be known as Liberty, a local racist superheroine. Also on this trip, Hughie and Starlight sleep together. Homelander wants to establish a relationship with his son Ryan and imposes his society on him in every possible way, although he does not like it, as Becca raises him to be a good boy. Meanwhile, Mallory, the former deputy director of the CIA, tells Butcher where Vought is hiding his wife and he goes after her. But Becca doesn't want to run away, as she realizes that Butcher won't take care of her son Ryan and will get rid of him at any opportunity. Butcher then hides out at his Aunt Judy's house, but is tracked down by Black Noir. However, Butcher calls Edgar and demands that Noir be recalled, or he will tell everyone about the Homelander's son Ryan. We are also shown Butcher's parents, who are in a complicated relationship with him, and they tell us that Butcher used to have a brother named Lenny who died. Starlight digs into Stormfront's computer and learns that some secret trials are being conducted at Sage Grove Psychiatric Hospital. The main characters go there and find a laboratory where the Vought Corporation is conducting experiments on creating superhumans not in infancy, but injecting advanced Compound V into adults. Something goes wrong and the test subjects break free. One of them is a girl named Sandy who has telekinetic powers. They also meet a sup named Lamplighter who killed Mallory's grandchildren, causing Butcher's original squad to disband. Lamplighter repents for his deed and decides to help the main characters. We are introduced to another character, Victoria Newman. She is a congresswoman and is against the Vought Corporation and superheroes. Soon the girl teams up with Mallory and the main characters to finally nail Vought, as Dr. Vogelbaum will testify against the corporation. However, at the hearing, an unknown sup blows his brains up and also kills many more people. Homelander's ratings plummet because of his rash actions, and he becomes jealous of Stormfront, who wins the love of the people with the help of PR. But eventually they team up, sleep together, and even steal Homelander's son from Becca to raise him as a superhero. Becca then escapes from the people of the Vought Corporation and goes to Butcher and the rest of the main characters for help. Deep still can't get over being kicked out of the Seven and sinks deeper and deeper into the bottom. Soon he is found by a sup named Eagle the Archer and recruited into the Church of the Collective. Its head, Alistair, promises to return Deep to the Seven if he obeys his orders. Deep marries a girl and after a while recruits him a train. Alistair promises them both that he will bring them back to the Seven, but at the very end he makes a deal with Stan Edgar only to bring a train back, which apparently causes Deep to leave the Church of the Collective. Meanwhile, Homelander learns that Maeve had a relationship with a girl named Elena, and starts to intimidate Maeve by saying that he can kill Alina at any moment. The girl decides to destroy Homelander's reputation and asks Deep for help. He pulls out from the bottom of the video camera, which shows Maeve and Homelander throwing people on the plane, which crashes. This moment, by the way, was in the first season. The Vought find out that Starlight has betrayed them and lock her in a completely dark room in the tower, thus depriving her of all superpowers. Huey decides to rescue her and Lamplighter helps him sneak into the corporation building. Lamplighter ends up burning himself with remorse. Huey and Starlight escape, aided by Maeve, who defeats Black Noir by giving him peanuts, since Noir is allergic to them. A train steals Stormfront's file from the Church of the Collective Archives and gives it to Huey and Starlight. They leak the data to journalists and the public learns that Stormfront was actually the wife of the founder of the Vought Corporation. They were Nazis and came here after World War II. And Stormfront was the very first person to be injected with Compound V. Becca asks Butcher for help in getting her son back. He agrees and meets with Stan Edgar. Stan realizes that the Homelander is out of control and the only way to control him is with his son. Butcher promises to steal Ryan and hand him over to Vought so they can hide the child away from the Homelander, and Stan just needs to give Butcher information on where the boy is. The main characters eventually work together to kidnap the child, but Stormfront manages to stop them. Ryan, scared that Stormfront is about to kill his mom, uses his superpowers and burns the villain, but Becca dies because of it too. Before she dies, she asks her husband to take care of her son. Homelander shows up, but Maeve shows him the footage of the plane crash and threatens him to let Butcher and the boy go. Butcher gives Ryan to Mallory to hide him away from Homelander. Homelander himself starts going cuckoo, as no one respects him. Starlight is returned to the Seven and she begins dating Huey. Marvin is reunited with his family, and Frenchie and Kimiko begin to grow closer. After a while, Alistair's head is suddenly blown up, and we learn who is really behind the bombings, Congresswoman Victoria Newman. And we are shown that Huey decides to take a job with her. This is the end of the second season. Let's pause for a moment. Here you can like this video, subscribe to my channel, and write some comments. Thanks. Half a year after the events of the previous season, Huey works alongside Victoria Newman at the Superhero Bureau, where they fight against illegal acts of soaps. Butcher, Frenchie, and Kimiko also work for them and do all the dirty work. However, they are forbidden to execute the wrongdoers, so Butcher becomes depressed. Soon Huey witnesses Victoria blowing up the head of some stalker in an alleyway, and he realizes that he has been working for the Soup all this time, after which he tells Butcher about everything. Meanwhile, Edgar, the head of Vought, tells the senator running for president about a new serum called V24 that can turn an ordinary person into a superhuman for 24 hours. Edgar wants to turn his company into a pharmaceutical company and sell this drug to the military, making billions of dollars, and disband the superheroes. After the public learns that Stormfront used to be a Nazi, Homelander's ratings begin to plummet as he has been dating her. However, he still loves her, and it turns out that the woman is still alive, although she is in serious condition. Edgar decides to rectify the situation and makes the popular Starlight co-captain of the Seven, which of course Homelander doesn't like. He continues to get even more cuckoo, plus he learns that Stormfront has taken her own life. He publicly speaks out against the Vought Corporation and declares that he will no longer obey it, which actually raises his ratings with a certain circle of people. He also tells Starlight that he is no longer afraid of compromise, as if people find out he is a villain, he will kill a large number of people until he is respected through fear. Just then, the Seven recruit new members and Supersonic joins, whom Homelander kills as he has joined Starlight and Maeve in their conspiracy against him. Homelander then brings Deep back into the Seven. Deep, thanks to his wife, a skillful PR woman, gets on the path to redemption, but is still an asshole. Soon Butcher is visited by Maeve, who wants to kill Homelander and advises him to seek out payback, a team of superheroes from the 50s who were later replaced by the Seven. The leader of this team was Soldier Boy, an incredibly powerful superhero who could match Homelander's strength. However, rumor has it that he was able to be killed by some secret weapon and kept it from the public. Butcher realizes if this weapon was able to kill Soldier Boy, it should be able to finish off Homelander as well. Maeve also gives Butcher some vials of V24 serum that will be able to make him sup for 24 hours. He injects himself with this drug and becomes incredibly strong. He then finds an old sup nicknamed Gunpowder and kills him. However, he learns that Soldier Boy died in Nicaragua, and the operation was led by his old CIA friend Mallory. Marvin joins the boys, as he has old scores to settle with Soldier Boy, who accidentally killed almost all of his family in the past. Together they go to Mallory, from whom they learn that the Russians killed Soldier Boy and stole his body. However, Mallory learned all of this from the mouths of the sups, as she was passed out. Butcher is angry with her, because she knew all along that there was a weapon capable of killing Homelander and kept it from him. He then takes it out on Ryan, the son of his ex-wife and Homelander. Butcher says he blames the boy for his mom's death, which makes Ryan angry at Butcher and he runs away. Butcher orders Frenchie to contact his former boss from the Russian mafia, Nina, to find out where the weapon might be in Russia. Butcher takes the V-24 serum again, and Huey learns about it and injects himself with it. To clarify, he's learned how to teleport. The boys go to Russia and infiltrate a secret laboratory, but everything goes wrong and they are attacked by special forces. In the firefight, the other main characters learn that Butcher and Huey are taking the serum and get angry at their friends. After searching the lab, they find a capsule in which they find Soldier Boy sleeping alive. He wakes up and shoots some kind of flash from his chest, then runs away. However, Kimiko is seriously injured by the flash and loses her superpowers, something she has long dreamed of. Edgar goes to his ward Victoria Newman and asks that her bureau scare Homelander for his open opposition to Vought and put him in his place. However, she instead sets Edgar up and accuses him of crimes at the conference. Homelander, knowing that she is sup, thanks the girl and they unite, but she does all this for some of her own reasons. Homelander now holds nothing back. He takes over at Vought since everyone in the company is afraid of him and making Ashley the director. Soon Victoria comes to Starlight. She is aware that the main characters have learned about his superpowers, but is ready to kill anyone who gets in her way. Nina, Frenchie's former boss, wants him to work for her and orders him to kill a certain family. Frenchie doesn't want to do that, so the woman kidnaps Kimiko and his ex from the first season and wants to kill them. But in the end, they manage to get out of this mess. After that, they decide not to obey Butcher anymore and work with him on equal terms, since he treated them like his tame dogs. Kimiko also asks Starlight to get her Compound V to get her powers back, as she realizes that without them she can't help her beloved Frenchie, after which she regains her abilities. Meanwhile, Starlight discovers that Huey has been taking V-24, which causes them to quarrel, and Maeve brings Butcher a few more doses of the drug and sleeps with him. Homelander smells Maeve's connection with his nemesis and locks her in a special prison. Soldier Boy returns to America. The former hero suffers from PTSD, as while he was imprisoned, scientists tried to kill him in various ways, but failed. Soldier Boy, while in downtown New York, catches flashbacks and creates an explosion that kills many people. Vought in Homelander head informs the people that they have nothing to fear and everything is under control. But the main characters realize who created the explosion and start looking for Soldier Boy. The boys are arguing. Some of them want to set him up with Homelander, and Soldier Boy kills Homelander for him, since Soldier Boy's ray can erase superpowers. However, others believe that Soldier Boy himself can do more damage than Homelander and must be stopped. Butcher and Huey learn from former Administrator Vought, nicknamed Legend, that Soldier Boy is looking for his ex-lover from the squad and they go after her. The main characters under the serum bind her and learn that in fact their team Payback themselves ratted Soldier Boy to the Russians because they hated him with all their hearts. To clarify, he was a bigger asshole than Homelander. Soon Soldier Boy arrives there as well, to whom Butcher offers a deal. Butcher helps him find all the subs from his former squad for revenge, and Soldier Boy kills Homelander for him. He agrees, after which he executes his former lover. Butcher and Huey find 2 subs from Soldier Boy's former team and go after them together. The house they are in is crowded and Huey wants to avoid casualties, but Soldier Boy has another seizure and kills a bunch of people. Homelander arrives and the 3 main characters almost kill him. However, realizing that he is losing, the villain flies away. Starlight can no longer be among the enemies and put on a mask that all is well. She goes on social media against Vought and accuses Homelander of being a villain and killing a bunch of people, and soon even discreetly records a conversation with him where he confirms it. Meanwhile, a train can't run because of a heart defect. The doctors say that if he runs again, he could die. He tries to prove himself and decides to fight against racism. A train learns that one of the heroes, nicknamed Blue Hawk, is killing too many black people while patrolling the streets. Trying to solve the problem peacefully, he makes things worse, and Blue Hawk accidentally injures several people, including his brother. Eventually, a train uses his powers and kills the racist, but his heart stops. However, when he wakes up in the hospital, he learns that Blue Hawk's heart has been transplanted into him. The main characters go after another member of the Payback Squad who can get inside people's heads. He plunges Butcher into a nightmare where he sees his memories. It turns out he had a brother, Lenny, and as a child they were constantly beaten by their father. And when Butcher went into the army, his brother couldn't stand it and killed himself. Eventually, Butcher comes out of the nightmare, and Soldier Boy kills his former squad member. However, he learns that Homelander turns out to be his biological son. And that's why the Vought Corporation decides to get rid of Soldier Boy so that a more perfect and controllable superhero can take his place. Homelander also learns that he is Soldier Boy's son. On top of that, the villain learns that Black Noir kept this information from him because he used to fight alongside Soldier Boy. After which Homelander kills Noir. He soon finds his son Ryan, who joins him. Meanwhile, Starlight learns that the V24 serum is unsafe. It kills a person after a few uses, and Hughie and Butcher have already taken it 3 to 4 times. She informs Butcher about it, and even though he needs help, he doesn't let his partner use the drug anymore. When Maeve is transported to another secret prison, she manages to break out and joins Butcher. Together they go to the Vought skyscraper, where they want to kill Homelander. He shows the Soldier Boy Ryan his grandson, but Soldier Boy doesn't care about them and tries to kill them both. After that, everything goes wrong and the main characters start fighting each other. Meanwhile, the other main characters learn how the Russians managed to contain Soldier Boy. It's all Novichok nerve gas, after which they synthesize it in Vought's lab and join the battle. Eventually, Soldier Boy manages to be stopped, and the CIA locks him in a special container, and Maeve loses her superpowers. After some time, Homelander flies to his rallying fans and introduces his son Ryan to them. Someone in the crowd throws a bottle at the boy and Homelander publicly executes him, but the crowd meets his act with applause, which inspires the villain and his son. Meanwhile, Butcher is diagnosed with brain cancer as he has taken too much serum and has 1 year to live. Starlight joins the boys on the team, and the rest of the main characters demand that Butcher be treated with respect. Turning on the TV, they see on the news that Victoria Newman intends to become President of America. This is the end of the 3rd season. To understand some of the plot lines in Season 4, you should watch the series Gen V or its recap, which I have on my channel. Sometime after the events of the previous season, the squad of main characters continues to collect dirt on superheroes and eliminate the guilty. Butcher was displaced and now Marvin is in charge, but because he's too soft, the squad doesn't really listen to him. Soon CIA instructs the main characters to kill Victoria Newman. But things don't go according to plan, and they find out that her daughter Zoe is also a Supes. The boys barely get away. Victoria catches up with them, but they inform her that if she kills them, the whole world will know that she has superpowers. It will certainly destroy her politically. But conversely, if they leak information about her, the whole team is finished. Meanwhile, Starlight has gathered a group of people around her who fight for all good things, and for superheroes to be punished for their misdeeds. Just then, a trial is underway against Homelander for killing a man in front of a crowd. Starlighters are demanding that he be locked up, but the villain has his fans too. Butcher tells the team that he has a tumor in his brain and has only half a year to live. By the way, Butcher does not mention that because of the tumor he began to see hallucinations of his wife, who constantly presses on his guilt. A little earlier, he is contacted by Kessler, a CIA agent, who proposes to kill Homelander independently of the boys and kidnap Ryan. Butcher doesn't like the idea of Ryan being made into a CIA weapon, but Kessler says that if they fail to recruit him, he'll eventually be seen as a threat like his father. Soon, Butcher calls the boy for a visit, but hesitates to kidnap the boy as he hopes Ryan can become a good person. However, later we see how Homelander systematically brainwashes him and fosters in him contempt for ordinary people. Ryan is even ordered by his father to kill an innocent man during a fake shooting of the guy's heroics. Homelander realizes he's surrounded by sycophants and dumbasses, so he invites Sage to join the team. Her superpower is genius. She is the smartest person on Earth. However, because of this, she has become a nihilist. Sage instantly comes up with a plan for them to not only deal with Starlight and her followers, but also take over the world. To start, they kill 3 Homelander fans and make it look like the Starlighters did it. However, a train begins to repent for everything he did while he was in the Seven, so he gives the boys proof that it wasn't Starlighters who killed the 3 fans. Subsequently, Marvin recruits a train and he leaks them all kinds of information about the Seven. Homelander realized they have a mole and start killing suspects. We also learn that the villain was acquitted of murder. The boys find out that Sage is running some errands for Vought, and the main characters start following her. They discover that the girl has gotten in contact with a Sups nicknamed Firecracker. She's a far-right Homelander fan who has her own podcast and pours utter nonsense into the ears of her subscribers. Later, on Sage's advice, Homelander invites her into the Seven, and she becomes the voice of Vought. That's why they're getting a lot of crazy Americans on their side. Firecracker sets up a stage right in front of Starlight's followers' office and starts slinging mud at her. Starlight can't stand it and attacks fireworks during a live broadcast, which is exactly what Sage had planned. Because of Starlight's act, the liberals have discredited themselves, and with them the current president who is loyal to them. Meanwhile, Frenchie tries to dig up dirt on Firecracker, but is met by Sups Ezekiel. Frenchie is rescued by Butcher, but he almost dies himself. However, he suddenly loses consciousness, and when he comes to, it's as if Ezekiel has been torn to pieces. We also notice that under Butcher's skin, there seems to be some kind of creature moving around. Hughie and Marvin decided to follow Victoria Newman. It turns out that she secretly met with Homelander and Sage, and they discuss the assassination of the current president of America. Hughie nearly dies when the villain becomes aware of his presence, but the A-Train saves the guy. Meanwhile, Homelander continues to go cuckoo. He decides to return to the lab where he was raised. There he begins to take revenge on the employees for all the torture he has endured. He ends up locking the head of the lab in a room with the corpses of all the employees. Hughie's father suffered a stroke, and in the hospital the main character meets his mother, who abandoned him as a child. She intends to take her ex-husband Hugh off life support, but the son is against it. He meets up with the Train and asks him to get him the Compound V. When the superhero hands him the vial, Hughie tells the Train that he forgives him for the death of his lover in Season 1. Back at the hospital, Hughie hesitates to inject his father with the Compound V, but his mother does. Hugh regains consciousness, but soon the family notices that the stroke has damaged his brain to the point where he has begun to forget everything. Suddenly, superpowers awaken in him, and the old man kills several people, after which Hughie makes a difficult decision to put his father to sleep. Butcher tells the team that there is a virus that can only kill Sups. However, it is now in the hands of Victoria Newman. The main characters realize that they need help and make a deal with Stan Edgar. If he helps them get the virus, they will get him out of jail and also give him custody of Victoria's monster daughter. Soon the main characters discover Newman's secret laboratory, where they meet her herself. However, she does not know what happened here, as the virus is not in the lab. They begin to search the area in the hope of finding Samir, the main scientist, who is also Victoria's lover. It turns out the experiment got out of control and the local farm animals got superpowers. The main characters find Dr. Samir, but use the last dose of the virus to destroy the animals who nearly eat them. When things settle down, Victoria learns that Samir is dead and only a leg is left of him. But in fact, Butcher, in secret from everyone, kidnapped him and cut off his limb as if the man was being eaten by animals. Afterward, along with CIA agent Kessler, force him to make another virus, but a stronger one, to kill Homelander and Victoria Newman. Stan Edgar is sent to prison since the boys didn't get the virus. However, Victoria helps him escape when the old man is escorted to prison. A little earlier, Kimiko learns that in America there is a cell of the organization that kidnapped her as a child and made her an assassin. Together with Frenchie, they sneak in and she eliminates everyone there except for one girl. Kimiko remembers that she had kidnapped her in the past, just as it was done to her as a child. Later, that girl tries to take revenge, but Kimiko still lets her alive. Meanwhile, Frenchie begins to feel guilt for all the murders he has committed in the past. Kimiko tries to help him, but the guy decides to turn himself in to the police, and he is put in jail. The boys learn that Tech Knight is throwing a party where the most influential people in America are invited, including Victoria Newman. The main characters realize that Sage is planning something global, so they send Huey in a superhero costume, who was personally invited by Tech Knight. Huey places bugs all over the house and the team records the conversation between Homelander and Victoria, as well as other influential people. It turns out that they plan to organize a coup in America, putting Newman at the helm. And the boys soon learn that Homelander wants to create concentration camps for people who do not agree with the new policy. At this time, Tech Knight reveals Huey and plans to kill him in a very twisted manner. But Kimiko and Starlight save him, and Tech Knight probably dies. Also in all this mess, Marvin gets sick and Trina saves him. Butcher demands that Samir create a virus that can kill the Homelander, but the scientist informs him that such a virus would be highly contagious and could kill all superhumans on Earth. Kessler likes this outcome, but Butcher doesn't want to cause genocide. The CIA agent pressures Butcher, and he realizes that Kessler is just a figment of his imagination caused by a brain tumor, just like his wife, whom he still sees. Butcher tells the boys that he kidnapped Samir, omitting information about his hallucinations. The team doesn't really like the possibility of genocide, but Homelander and Victoria Newman need to be dealt with. Butcher gets Frenchie out of jail, as he is incredibly talented at creating various substances. And for a while, he and Dr. Samir continue to try to amplify the virus. While the scientist is working, Frenchie and Kimiko share their psychological problems with each other, and the girl tells why she doesn't speak. As children, they were forced to fight each other without making a sound. And when she killed her first opponent, she couldn't utter a word after that. While the main characters were talking, Samir injects Kimiko with a virus and escapes. The Frenchie manages to cut off her leg and saves her. He then creates the virus by himself. Also towards the end of the season, French and Kimiko finally confess their feelings for each other. Homelander learns that the main characters overheard their conversation at the Tech Knight's mansion. Even though Sage tells him not to mess with the boys because they're being covered by the CIA, the villain sends Deep and Black Noir to them. By the way, the real Black Noir is dead, and now it is a superhero who's just pretending to be him at the orders of Homelander so as not to ruin Seven's reputation. Deep and Black Noir attack the boys, but they manage to fight them off thanks to the appearance of a train. Homelander finds out who the traitor really was and accuses Sage of incompetence. However, she actually knew about the mole. Moreover, she specifically allowed him to leak only unimportant information. In fact, Sage is incredibly smart, and her plans went much deeper than she told Homelander. However, the villain kicks her out of the Seven. Ryan receives a gift from Butcher for Christmas, a picture with his mom. Lately, he's been leaning more and more to the side of evil. But he comes to his senses and realizes that he's being manipulated by Homelander. That is why, live on the children's show, he makes a speech that goes against the policy of his father. Meanwhile, the main characters find out who exactly will have to kill the president and try to find the killer. But it turns out that the villains have hired a Supes whose ability to change appearance. He escapes from them, but soon it turns out that the shapeshifter kidnapped Starlight and took her appearance, and the girl herself is chained up in an abandoned house. Victoria Newman comes to the TV show Vought, where she was supposed to quietly sway the audience to her side, since after the death of the president she will replace him, and this will in any case cause unrest in the society. Homelander Live on Air tells everyone that Victoria is superhuman, which shocked the audience as well as herself. The country is in chaos, and the boys realize it's a hot mess. They go to the president to protect him, but Huey figures out that Starlight is a shapeshifter. When Supes is discovered, he tries to kill everyone present, but the real Starlight appears, having escaped from imprisonment, and gets rid of the imposter. Butcher gets sick with illness and is sent to a special CIA facility. The imaginary Kessler tells the hero that he is not just some hallucination. The tumor in his body is roughly speaking a separate super being caused by Compound V, and if he agrees to kill all the sups, Kessler will share his power with him. That's when Ryan, who was called here by Mallory, shows up. Together with Butcher, they tell the boy the whole truth about his father. Ryan is shocked by what he hears, but the news doesn't end there. The CIA doesn't want to let him go and intends to train the guy, making him a weapon that will eventually kill the Homelander. Ryan realizes that if the doors close, he won't be able to get out, so he pushes Mallory and escapes, which causes the woman to die. Kessler approaches Butcher again with his offer, and the main character agrees. Homelander orders the Seven to kill all of Vought's employees who are unreliable and have dirt on him. Ashley is among them. The girl realizes that she is facing death, so she decides to risk her life and become a sup. We do not know what came out of it. Meanwhile, Victoria Newman realizes that she is in a desperate situation. If she agrees to become president, she will become a puppet of the Homelander, and if she refuses, she and her daughter will die. Victoria calls Hughie and informs him that she wants out of the game. The boys, though they dislike Newman, realize they could use such an ally. They agree and call the woman to them. But then Butcher shows up. Tentacles burst out of his chest, and he tears Victoria in two. He then takes the virus dart from Frenchie and says he will sacrifice himself to kill their nemesis. After the failed assassination attempt on the president, as well as the death of Newman, Homelander realizes that all his plans are falling apart. Sage suddenly appears and congratulates the villain on his victory. The confused superhero learns that the girl planned the whole thing and knew that when he kicked her out of the Seven, everything would go down the drain. She reinsured herself, and thanks to a recording made by a shapeshifter in the president's bunker, in which he admits that he tried to kill Newman, he was put on trial. Now the country is run by a loyal Homelander politician who will listen to whatever the villain tells him to do. The first thing the new president does is declare martial law and allows superheroes to act as police and soldiers in the country. Also, Homelander learns that his father, Soldier Boy, is alive and in the CIA's custody. Meanwhile, the boys realize that they have lost and try to escape from America. However, the Supes catch them. Kimiko, seeing her lover being taken away, finally speaks up. Starlight manages to fly away, and the Butcher with the virus is headed to an unknown destination. This is the end of the Season 4. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click the like button. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.